They didn't need to own the city, they only needed to own its waterfront. At the port of New York, every ship, every crate, every dollar of cargo moved through one gatekeeper, the Mafia. And nothing left the docks without their cut. If you want to understand how the Mafia really built its power, subscribe, because the control the Mafia held over those docks was so deep even the authorities backed away. New York Harbor, 1932, morning shift. Antonio Anastasio walks onto Pier 7 in Brooklyn. He wears a double-breasted suit with white tie and white carnation custom-made. Wide lapels. Men step aside. He does not need to speak. His brother Albert runs Murder Inc. Everyone knows this. Antonio controls Local 1814 of the International Longshoremen's Association. He gained control this year. 6 more ILA locals will follow by 1937. Brooklyn waterfront belongs to him now. The Gambino family stands behind him. So do 4 other families: Genovese, Lucchese, Colombo, Bonanno. They carve up the port like butchers dividing meat. The system is simple. Every morning, longshoremen gather for the shape-up. Hiring bosses stand on the pier. They pick workers for the day. No contract, no guarantee. A man lifts his hand. The boss chooses, or does not choose. Kickbacks determine everything. A worker pays to work, pays to keep working, refuses to pay, he does not eat. The boss answers to the mob. The union answers to the mob. The pier answers to the mob. Anastasio never hides his connection. He says only, "My brother Albert," when pressed. That is enough. Albert Anastasia commands the most feared hit squad in America. Over 60 murders between 1931 and 1940. The Brooklyn docks operate without challenge. Shipping companies pay. Trucking companies pay. Anyone moving cargo through New York pays. Millions flow into 5 family coffers. Kickbacks from union dues, stolen merchandise from containers. Payoffs from competing shipping lines who want labor peace. By 1937, Anastasio controls 6 ILA locals across Brooklyn. His reach extends to Manhattan. The waterfront becomes a private territory. No politician challenges it. No businessman refuses payment. The Gambino family earns millions annually. The other families earn millions. The Port of New York and New Jersey processes more cargo than any harbor in America. Every container passes through mob-controlled gates. June 1939. Red Hook, Brooklyn. Evening. Peter Panto stands before 350 longshoremen in a union hall. He is 27 years old. He works the docks. He speaks against mob corruption. He demands a union hiring hall to replace the shape-up system. The men listen. Some applaud. Panto calls out the extortion, the kickbacks, the stolen wages. He names no names, but everyone understands. Albert Anastasia hears about the speech. Anastasia orders the problem removed. July 14, 1939. Panto disappears. No body, no witnesses, no arrests. Longshoremen ask questions, then they stop asking. 1 year later, January 1941, a lime pit in New Jersey gives up a corpse. Decomposed. Identified as Panto, the murder remains officially unsolved. Everyone knows who ordered it. The waterfront learns the lesson. Silence costs less than speaking. After 3 years, the French luxury liner SS Normandy burns. The ship is being converted into a troop transport for World War II. Fire breaks out below decks, spreads rapidly. For hours, the Normandy burns. Water pours in from firefighting efforts. The ship lists to port, then capsizes along the pier, one of the most spectacular fires in New York history. Federal investigation later concludes accident, not sabotage. But the Anastasio brothers tell a different story to associates. They claim credit. They say they set the fire to pressure the U.S. Navy. The Navy has a problem. German and Italian sabotage threatens warships at New York docks. Naval intelligence scouts the waterfront looking for spies. The Anastasio brothers see opportunity. Anthony and Albert offer a deal. release Charles Lucky Luciano from prison. In exchange, the mob guarantees dock security. No sabotage, no problems. The Navy considers this. The Normandy fire makes the threat real. The deal is made. Luciano transfers from maximum security Dannemora to minimum security Great Meadow Prison. The mob controls waterfront security during the war. Ships sail safely. The families profit. Patriotism pays. The war ends. The control remains. The 5 families expand operations. The ILA becomes their instrument. Union officials receive mob backing. Union members pay mob taxes. The shape-up continues. Kickbacks flow. No-show jobs multiply. Mob relatives and associates receive paychecks without working. Legitimate longshoremen watch this. They say nothing. Speaking costs too much. In November 1948, Malcolm Johnson publishes the first article in a series for the New York Sun. Title: Crime on the Waterfront. 24 articles total. Johnson documents everything: the shape-up system, the kickbacks, the murders, the mob control, the stolen cargo, the union corruption, the political protection. He names the Anastasio brothers. He details murder, Incan connections. He exposes the daily extortion. Workers forced to offer tribute at morning shape-ups, bosses demanding payments for steady work. Union locals controlled by gangsters, peers operating as mob territories. The articles win the Pulitzer Prize for local reporting in 1949. Public outcry follows. Politicians demand action. Investigations begin. The New York Crime Commission holds hearings in 1951. The New Jersey Law Enforcement Council assists testimony reveals pervasive corruption. Organized crime controls every aspect of waterfront operations. Union leadership answers to mob bosses. Hiring practices serve mob interests. Cargo theft costs millions annually. Violence silences opposition. The evidence overwhelms. Both states act. In 1953, New York and New Jersey create the Waterfront Commission of New York Harbor through congressional compact. The commission receives unprecedented powers it can investigate: license workers, bar criminals from employment, prosecute corruption. The goal is singular: eliminate organized crime from the port. The commission begins work. The mob adapts. Anthony Anastasio continues controlling Brooklyn. The commission investigates. Hearings pile up. Convictions come slowly. The mob has lawyers, political connections, union protection. Decades of infiltration cannot be undone quickly. The commission removes some criminals' bars, some mob associates. But the families maintain influence. They control too many locals, too many hiring bosses, too many union officials. The Gambino family keeps Brooklyn. The Genovese family controls New Jersey Piers and Manhattan. The Lucchese family operates in the Bronx. The system bends, but does not break. October 25, 1957. Albert Anastasia sits in the barbershop chair. Hot towels cover his face. 2 gunmen enter. They fire. 5 bullets strike Anastasia. He dies in the chair. The hit is professionally executed. No arrests follow. Carlo Gambino assumes control of the family. Albert's brother Anthony loses some influence, but Gambino allows him to keep Brooklyn. The waterfront remains mob territory. March 1st, 1963. Anthony Anastasio dies of a heart attack at Long Island College Hospital. He is 57. On the day of his funeral, the Brooklyn docks halt all operations. Longshoremen stand in respect. Not from love, from understanding. Anastasio controlled their livelihoods for 31 years. His death changes nothing immediately. His son-in-law, Anthony Scotto, inherits the kingdom. Anthony Scotto married Anastasio's daughter, Marian, in 1957. He rises through ILA ranks quickly. By 1963, he controls Local 1814. He becomes general organizer of the ILA, then executive vice president. He wears expensive suits like his father-in-law. He cultivates political connections. He appears on boards and committees. He presents himself as a labor reformer. Underneath, he is a Gambino captain. The FBI knows this. Prosecutors know this. Proving it takes time. The 1960s pass. The mob maintains control. Kickbacks continue. No-show jobs proliferate. Cargo theft remains systematic. The Waterfront Commission fights constantly. It removes individual criminals, bars specific mob associates, but the families replace them. For every mobster banned, another union official emerges with family connections. The system protects itself. In 1975, the FBI launches Operation Unirac, Union Racketeering, a massive federal investigation targeting mob infiltration of labor unions. Hundreds of agents deploy. The focus centers on the International Longshoremen's Association. Evidence gathering begins. Wiretaps, surveillance informants. The investigation spans years. Miami, New York, New Jersey, Boston. Ports across the East Coast fall under scrutiny. Unirac exposes systematic corruption. La Cosa Nostra controls ILA locals from Florida to Massachusetts. Union officials solicit bribes. Shipping companies pay for labor peace. Mob families collect percentages. The evidence is overwhelming. Grand juries convene. Unirac brings indictments against 22 individuals, union officials, mob associates. The charges include racketeering, bribery, and extortion. More indictments follow in other ports. Approximately 70 convictions result from Unirac investigations. By 1980, the Justice Department claims victory. The mob adapts again. In January 17, 1979, federal prosecutors indict Anthony Scotto. The charges include racketeering and receiving illegal payoffs. Evidence shows Scotto accepted payments from shipping companies and contractors. The payments bought labor peace. No strikes, no slowdowns, no problems. Scotto presents himself as a legitimate labor leader. Character witnesses include New York Governor Hugh Carey, former New York City Mayor Robert Wagner. The jury hears evidence, phone taps, financial records, witness testimony. November 1979. The verdict comes guilty. Scotto receives a 5-year prison sentence. He serves 30 months. His conviction shakes the waterfront, but does not break mob control. The ILA remains infiltrated. Other union officials continue operations. The families maintain their positions. The 1980s bring continued pressure. The Waterfront Commission intensifies investigations. RICO prosecutions target organized crime enterprises. The Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, passed in 1970, becomes the government's primary weapon. RICO allows prosecutors to target entire criminal organizations, not just individual crimes. The 5 families face systematic legal assault. The Port of New York and New Jersey continues operating as America's busiest harbor. Billions in cargo move through annually. The mob taxes every movement: kickbacks from union contracts, payoffs from trucking companies, extortion from shipping firms. No-show jobs provide steady income. Legitimate workers labor beside ghost employees who collect paychecks without appearing. The system costs the port competitiveness but benefits the families immensely. The Waterfront Commission documents extensive corruption. No-show jobs proliferate. Overstaffing bloats payrolls. Mob favorites receive guaranteed employment. Hiring decisions favor connected workers. The Commission's reports detail systematic waste. Federal prosecutors build cases. RICO indictments multiply. The Genovese family controls ILA Local 1804-1 in New Jersey and maintains influence over other locals. George Barone, a Genovese associate and former ILA official, becomes a government witness. He testifies about decades of mob control. He describes the decision-making process, how mob bosses determined union leadership, how families divided territory, how violence enforced compliance. His testimony provides the blueprint for prosecution. In 2005, the complaint alleges pervasive organized crime influence. The government seeks to place the union under federal oversight. The lawsuit names the ILA, several local chapters, and individual union officials. The complaint details decades of racketeering, extortion, fraud, theft, violence. The government alleges the Genovese and Gambino families control ILA operations. Union officials answer to mob bosses. Hiring practices serve mob interests. Union contracts benefit crime families. The lawsuit seeks to break this control through court-appointed monitors and oversight. The ILA fights back. Union lawyers argue the mob no longer controls operations. They claim reforms have cleaned up corruption. They present the lawsuit as government overreach. The legal battle extends for years. Depositions, discovery, motions. The case proceeds slowly. December 15, 2011. Brooklyn Federal Court. A superseding indictment drops. Genovese-linked union officials charged with decades of extortion, 61 acts. Shakedowns for steady shifts. Kickbacks for prime assignments. Christmas envelopes squeezed from workers. Wiretaps, surveillance, cooperating witnesses, all pointing to the same thing. Mob control on the waterfront never ended. It simply evolved. The Waterfront Commission releases a report. No show jobs. Overstaffing. Ghost workers collecting full pay while never stepping onto a pier, millions lost. Shipping companies pushed to other ports. The Commission recommends reforms. Union leaders resist. Politicians stall. Nothing changes quickly. Then New Jersey moves to break the system. Governor Chris Christie pushes to withdraw from the Waterfront Commission entirely. He claims the Mafia is gone, the oversight unnecessary. New York disagrees. The FBI warns that organized crime still operates at the port. The case reaches the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, corruption continues openly. In 2018, dock foreman Paul Moe is arrested. Bribery, rigged assignments, pay-to-work schemes. Proof that the old playbook is still in use, the Supreme Court rules in New Jersey's favor. The bi-state agency is effectively dissolved. Federal authorities voice concern. The Commission removed over 300 mob figures from port jobs in its lifetime. Without it, history may repeat itself. In October 2024, 47,000 longshoremen strike along the East Coast. ILA President Harold Daggett, once tried for racketeering and accused of Genovese ties, leads the walkout. He was acquitted in 2005. But the allegations linger. For more than 70 years, the Mafia drained tens of millions annually from the Port of New York and New Jersey. Kickbacks, stolen cargo, ghost paychecks, extortion disguised as union tradition. Across decades, the total loss reaches into the billions. The human cost was worse. Workers paying to keep their jobs, families losing wages to envelopes of fear. Reformers like Pete Panto killed for speaking out. Today, the port moves nearly 7 million containers a year, supporting hundreds of thousands of jobs, but the shadow remains. Investigations continue, cases still surface. And the question persists, did the Mafia ever leave the docks, or did it just get better at staying hidden?